Hello and welcome to today's episode of Platinum Talks Wealth. Emmy Nominated journalist Jennifer Rogers Markwell changed gears in her television career when she realized the need to help women make sense of investing. She regularly hosts educational workshops to empower women and others to take charge of their financial future. Now, join your host, Platinum Wealth Management President Jennifer Rogers Markwell, as she leads us into the world of money memories, money infidelities, and how these can mold our relationship with our personal finances as adults. Let's dive into today's episode.
Hi, and thanks for joining us on the Platinum Talks Wealth podcast. I'm Jennifer Rogers Markwell, and today I'm joined by Tanya Fagetan. Thank you so much for joining us today and making time.
Thank you, Jennifer. Super nice to be here.
Well, tell me all about who you are and why you do what you do.
Yeah, so I'm Tanya. I'm a daughter. I'm a girlfriend. I'm a friend. I'm a yoga instructor. I lead retreats, and I'm a real yoga and wellness advocate for people of all ages, and knowing that that is vital to all aspects of your life, having your wellness start within, and then it branches out, and it's one peg of that wheel of health.
How did you get on that path?
You know, I've always had activity in my life. As a youngster, I was a figure skater and I danced and I did a lot of different activities. I grew up in Reno, Lake Tahoe area, so I snow skied. I was a figure skater. And, you know, I always had those sports and athletics, but I was never part of group sports, right? It was always an individual sport that I was involved with. And one of my earliest memories in high school, I used figure skating as my credits for my PE credits. But when we did the group sports, right, I wasn't the kid that was picked on the teams. We'd get basketball. I was horrible at basketball. I didn't want to play it, horrible at it, volleyball, those things. And even though I was athletic, I wasn't picked for the team. I mean, I literally was the last one. And when it came down to being picked, they were like, we don't want her on the team. And I'm like, fine, I don't want to be on your team either, right? Right. But yeah, so I learned, you know, to have that appreciation for my sports, my things that I like to do and that were good and healthy for me. And fast forward that many years later, it's something now that I'm doing well past my 50s, and knowing that this is vital for me to stay vibrant and healthy and take care of this vessel. I've had periods of time where I didn't do that. And I have coached and clients that have gone through periods in their life where they haven't as well. So I really cherish this body that I have. It's not perfect. It's never going to be perfect, but it's what gets me and uses everything I've got in life. And really have grown an appreciation for wellness.
So one thing that you didn't mention in all of that is that you, myself included in that, co-authored a book with 20 other people. So tell me more about your journey there if you're open to sharing.
Absolutely. Yeah. Being a part of Sacred Silver Linings really has been a dream come true. I've been a writer. I majored in communications in college, and I wrote for a couple sewing publications and had those published. But actually having a book was always kind of a dream or a thought, you know, someday. And when this opportunity presented itself, you know, at first I thought, oh, heck yes, I can do that. I can write. And then as we got into it a little bit, I thought, oh, what do I write about? How do you do one chapter on dark moments in life, right? I've had a bunch of them. I've had, you know, a lifelong experience of great times and some really difficult times as well. And I found at first getting the writing going was difficult because I thought, oh boy, I've got to be vulnerable here. And we all work at presenting ourselves a certain way. And I thought, I don't want people to know that I've struggled with some of these things as much as I have. But the process was beautiful. I would write and then I would kind of step away from it. And I think I just can't do this. And then, you know, I remember one evening I just thought, let it flow, just let it flow, let it out. And I ended up really crying, you know, during that process. The process has been incredible. I wouldn't say it's exciting all the time. We become international bestsellers. That's pretty exciting. But the feeling isn't just of excitement. There's this magnitude with it. Like, oh, this can touch and reach out further than I ever thought. And that's really what I wanted to do. Leave a legacy in some format. I've recorded meditations that are out there available for people to listen to. And I thought, they'll be out there forever, long after I'm gone. One of my personal disappointments was that I wasn't able to have children of my own. And I've always thought, gee, where do I leave the world? What do I leave the world with? And I've learned that my products, my writing, my teaching, how I affect others in my classes, and how they then expand to their families, is truly really how I'm leaving a legacy. So it's been exciting. It's been fun. I know you've experienced that as well. And it's really actually quite humbling as well.
Are you open to sharing a little bit about what you wrote?
Sure. Yeah. So my chapter is called Get a Grip. I kind of go a funny nickname I have is Splitz Gripper because of yoga. I'm real flexible. I've always been flexible. But this grippy mats, gripper, and, where we don't slip on the yoga mats. But so Splitz Gripper, Get a Grip. And I start my chapter out talking about really a real low moment in my life where I literally was laying across a bed in my apartment, and I caught a glimpse of myself in the mirror across the room. And I had gone through a real personal disappointment and literally heartbroken. And I saw myself, and I was gray and ashen, and I literally did not know that I could or wanted to continue life. And so I write a little bit about life, loss, love, rediscovering love, friendships, and rediscovering health. I lost my health for a while. I am a cancer survivor, went through a major surgery, and life is worthwhile. It's hard, as it's supposed to be, right? But we grow and develop and continue to progress.
Thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah.
So another thing we talk about on the podcast is money memories. What's a money memory that you've experienced as a younger person or as a child that helped kind of develop your relationship to money as an adult?
Right. Yeah. So one of my first memories as a child, I had wanted to play the piano for years. That was like, I danced, I skated, I did all those things, but I wanted to play the piano. And my parents, were beginning their careers and building a business. And my parents made the decision and made a sacrifice. Instead of fully decorating the living room with beautiful furniture at first and, making it look like a showroom, they bought a piano. That was the first item that they brought in their house. And I remember the piano being delivered into this empty living room, right? There was no other furniture. And they made that sacrifice, put the piano in the room. And I remember dancing down the hallway as this little girl, like, the piano's here, the piano's here. But I mean, first of all, what it taught me was sacrifice. My parents loved me, wanted me to have that opportunity to discover music and to develop a skill and a talent. And they made that sacrifice for me. And then my part was I had to practice. My responsibility in that sacrifice was I had to take care of the piano, and I still have the piano to this day, relatively, nick-free, scratch-free, and after all these years. But it taught me resilience. It taught me sacrifice, money. It taught me the value of my time, and that when someone else and I work hard, we achieve great things.
Oh, I love that. I love that story so much. We hear so many different, money memories because that's something we talk through on the podcast, and they're all so different, but yours is so sweet.
Yeah, I've learned a lot, I mean, when I thought, oh, I'm doing this podcast on wealth management, right? So money, it's our relationship with something that is a tool. And it goes along with my yoga practice, right? It's one of those little wheels that we have in our life that is important to have in balance. So if we work out all the time, but we don't take care of our finances, where are we then? If all we do is take care of our finances and don't go have some fun and take care of this vessel, our bodies, where are we? We have money, but we're not able to fully enjoy it. So it's something, that I've worked through. And you and I have talked before, and I mentioned, I remember years ago, I was starting my first real job out of college and working. And, I didn't want my parents to know that I was struggling a little bit financially. And I remember opening my cabinet one day and I looked in and I think I had like 2 cans of tuna fish, in my pantry. And I thought, okay, I'm not getting paid for another month. I've got to live on, what I'm making, and I've got to figure out how to make this work. And that lesson of sacrifice came back. You don't have to have, the most and the best of everything, but when you get it, work hard for it, get quality, and learn, get out there and work and learn. And knowing that wealth comes, whether it's literal wealth or it's emotional wealth with it. And it's our relationship with things that gives us our strength. I read something really interesting the other day. I heard it and I thought it was really, really beautiful. And it's like walls. And we think, oh, walls are in our lives. We've got to get around them or up and over them. And it said, no, what we need to do is build a door in the wall and learn to go through that door.
Oh, that's good.
And yeah. Isn't that, I thought this is fantastic. This is exactly where I've been, I've done things in my life where I've taken jobs that didn't work out, full on job where they moved me and it didn't work out. And I thought, oh boy, where am I going here? How am I going to survive? And it comes back to that. Okay. Look at your skills, look at your talents, dig down, find what you can do and serve the world in some way. And I've been fortunate to be able to have my yoga practice first that keeps me grounded. It also, has made a living for myself and helps other people on their path to feeling better.
So another thing we touch on the podcast is financial infidelities, which definably can mean different things to different people. What's a financial infidelity that you're open to sharing that you either experienced or that you witnessed that someone else experienced, but you think folks could learn from it?
Yeah. I think going back to my 20s, right? Here I, just starting my career after college and working and trying to make my way without asking for help. And yet, I worked right across from a wonderful mall in Southern California for a while. And on my lunch hour, I'd be, I'm going to go over there and check things out at lunch and walk around. And there's some beautiful department stores that had some amazing sales, and I'd be, that skirt would look so cute on me. And I really like it. And I like, it's a great price. And so, I'm young. And I'm thinking, okay, just live for the moment and go ahead and get it, and next thing I know, I'm looking at my finances and I'm going, holy moly, Tanya, you can't pay for this, or you've got to figure out a way to pay for this. And again, it brought me back to, that memory of my parents, where, they didn't buy anything on credit. They worked, they made the money and they bought it flat out. And I thought, okay, how are you going to deal with this? And I looked at these bills and it was embarrassing. Oh, credit cards. I had great credit because I had a bunch of debt, but my thing was, how are you going to pay them? And then to pay them down and pay it off. And again, I learned the value of nice things, but, embarrassingly, I had a little higher credit than, debt that I wanted to have. So, I've learned do without. If you can't pay for it, do without. And it's not the end of the world if you don't have everything when and how you want it. It will come eventually.
Yeah. I mean, you bring up a good point with credit cards. I feel like that financial literacy, how many of us when our early 20s thinking it was, yes, we've got to get 20% off the store card if we buy this on this shirt, and then we've got to go to the next store and do the same thing. So I was right there with you, right? And definitely trying to figure that out because I was never taught otherwise. And not that that's necessarily an excuse, right? I learned it and I learned how to navigate moving forward, but I also want to do better for the younger generations and share stories like this so they can learn and, do better than us potentially.
Right. Right. And I mean, now I'm living in a retirement community area right now, and I'm not retired. I mean, I'm out there working, but I'm learning even from that. I teach yoga to an incredible amount of clients here, and I teach a lot of classes, chair yoga classes and things. And I'm fortunate because all these people have varied backgrounds and professions, and most all of them are retired. But here I am, I'm chugging away, I'm making money. I'm still, out there producing, but I'm learning from it. And it's been really incredible. I'm not ready to retire. I'm not even sure I'm ever going to retire. I'll always do something that I find meaningful and a way to keep making my finances and work. But, it's not about anymore, what can I buy with it? It's about how and what do I do? How do I enjoy those experiences? And how do I, really make the most? I don't need 20 more dresses in my closet. What I need to do is go have those experiences using the 20 that I have, and stay in that moment and just enjoy life. And I'm learning that. I'm seeing people well into their 80s here, that are enjoying life and doing things and working out and staying as vibrant as they can well into their late 80s. So it's really exciting for me to be a part of that.
That's awesome. And I think, by saying experiences, that's one thing in our house, like holiday time. We don't need more sweaters or dresses, like you'd said, right? We're good. Like if we want something or need socks or whatever, we can get it for ourselves. But experiences are creating those just priceless memories. And that I don't feel bad about because, again, that's an experience, not something, tangible that what's it going to go in a corner or get smushed in the closet. So right. Same on that. So as we start wrapping up the conversation, one thing I like to ask is, what are tips and or tricks that you use to utilize money differently in your own household?
Yeah, tips and tricks, keep it simple. Keep it simple. Have the nicest things that you can afford. Maybe, get less, have less, but keep it nice, keep it quality, and enjoy it. If you want to use that china that's in your closet or something, pull it out and enjoy it. It was one of my first purchases that I bought, building when I was 16. I thought I want to have this set of china, right? So I worked and I saved the money and I bought it, and I still have it to this day. And I think, how often do I use it? And I'm like, pull it out, make a dinner for yourself. That's what I did to celebrate, my book launch, one of the things. And I put one of those china plates out and I had a meal by myself, just enjoying something that I had accomplished. But keep it simple, enjoy the things you have, and share with the connecting with other people, and know that you're not the only one who's ever gone through any trial. You're not the only one that has had these kind of trials, whether it's money or health or whatever. And there are people there right along with you, whether it's exactly the same, but share it with others, because that's really what it's about. It's connecting, it's helping each other along our path. And for me, that's really what makes life worth living.
And use the china. Use the china.
Use the china. Yes. Yes.
Well, thank you so much for making time and sharing. I greatly appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Yeah.
Of course. And those of you listening or watching, hopefully you'll join us on the next Platinum Talks Wealth podcast.
If you enjoyed today's podcast, Platinum Talks Wealth, please subscribe and share. For more information about Jennifer Rogers Markwell or Platinum Wealth Management, please visit www.platinumwealth.net. Securities and advisory services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor, member of FINRA and SIPC. The opinions voiced in this podcast are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine which strategies or investments may be suitable for you, consult the appropriate qualified professional prior to making a decision. The guest speakers and their companies are not affiliated with or endorsed by LPL Financial or Platinum Wealth Management.